Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Guided Hierophant. So this video is going to be a past life reading. I'm going to tell you guys a bit about your past life and how it's presently affecting you today, because why else would you care about your past life, right? So I apologize if the camera's shaking. I'm trying to balance it so you guys can get a close-up of the crystals. So the first pile is rose quartz. The second pile is amethyst. And the third pile is unakite, I believe is how you pronounce it. So I'm going to give you guys a second to meditate on. So I'm going to give you guys a second to meditate on the pile that you would like to pick. I also wanted to say real quick that I made some changes to my personal readings. So if you're interested in personal readings, I actually have it to where I'm going to schedule phone calls with you guys. I have the pricing information down below if you guys aren't interested in doing the standard emailed readings, where you send me information and I email it to you. I'm actually opening up to talking to people on the phone and doing personal readings that way. So if you guys are interested, check out the description box. I have all that information down there. And I'll give you guys a second to meditate on your pile, and I'll see you guys at your reading. Alright, so if you guys chose pile number 1 with the rose quartz, this is going to be your reading. My daughter is actually asleep, so I'm trying to be quiet, and I really wanted my videos to be relaxing anyway, but I kind of get a little excited about the messages sometimes, and I'm not really in control of my voice level. So I've been kind of disappointed recently when I realized that I was almost yelling in my previous videos. So I am going to try to be quieter, and this will help, the fact that she's asleep. We'll see how long we have before she wakes up. But anyways, so let's get into it. So if you picked pile number 1, this is going to be your reading. The energy that I got for your past life was this universe card. So the universe card talks about patterns, it talks about cycles. So your past life reading is actually going to be about a cycle that you are currently repeating at this time. That's what I was trying to get that out. Jeez. Okay, so the first card we have is temptation. So the temptation card talks about addictions. It talks about it even talks about mindsets. So it talks about a void that we fill. So when we are turning to alcohol, or when we're turning to cigarettes, when we're turning to other things, addictions, or low self-esteem, those things have bigger meanings. They have bigger underlining issues. It's not the cigarettes that you need to just quit. You also need to get to the root of why you started smoking cigarettes to begin with. And I'm only bringing up cigarettes because I used to smoke cigarettes. So I actually did a video a few days ago about my journey through tarot, my life journey in general. If you guys are interested, I do talk about how I struggled with smoking cigarettes. So I had that issue where I was smoking cigarettes, but I needed to learn that in order to help me quit, it wasn't just about realizing that I needed to quit. Yes, that's the first step. That's what they say, realizing that you need to quit. But I had to get to the root of it, which was the fact that I have anxiety, and I was, instead of focusing on the fact that I have anxiety and figuring out, why that happens, where is that coming from, I was relying on the cigarettes. I was taking control of something in my mind. It was like I was, doing something. I was doing something about it. I went through all of that, and I actually was getting from this temptation card that this is a person that you need to remove yourself from. I think this is a person that you need to get away from. And then, with you have love begins, which is similar to the Ace of Wand or the Ace of Cups. So with the Ace of Cups here, I feel like this is what you're looking for. You want a new beginning, either with this person that you need to get away from, or a new person. You just want a new beginning in love. You just want new love. This is what you're trying to bring in. But in order to do that, you have to, in this cycle where you are turning to other things instead of dealing with what you need to deal with. So instead of turning to, like pessimistic, being pessimistic is something that could be represented in the devil card as well. So like, say there's like a job you want to get, and instead of dealing with your insecurities about whether or not you can get that job, you say to yourself, oh, well, I probably won't get it. Like, I'm not going to apply because I probably won't get it. Instead of dealing with like, well, why won't you get it? Why do you feel like you won't get it? Why do you feel like you don't deserve it? Like pessimism, it comes from a deeper place. It's not just the fact that you're being pessimistic. And then we have the next card that we had was the Sun card, or hope in this deck. So the Sun card talks about ultimate happiness. It talks about that thing that you want, the greatest thing that you could ever want. Like whatever that is to you, like there's this need to figure that out, but fight for it. Don't allow yourself to get trapped in these cycles, where you're turning to things that aren't good for you because you're feeling pessimistic, or you're dealing with anxiety and it's just too hard. Like you're like, oh, it's just never gonna happen for me. It will, it will happen if you there's this need, like I said, to break this cycle, to come out of this. So to clarify the devil card, we have the Six of Swords. To clarify the Ace of Cups, we have the High Priestess. And then to clarify the Sun card, we have the Five of Wands. So that's saying to me, the reason, this was the main reason why I felt as though this devil card is representing a person. I do believe that it's a person that you need to get away from, but it is possible that it is just, that it's, addiction, that it's a mindset, that it's being pessimistic, or having low self-esteem. All those things tie into the devil energy. It's an energy. It's not the devil itself. It's an energy, that thing that keeps you from realizing your potential, from breaking, like it's something that keeps you chained to unhappiness, when what you really want is happiness. Like it's literally, you have like the devil and the Sun card are almost like the two, they're like parallel to each other. Like that's the energy that you're in, or that you need to come out of, and in hopes of this, new beginning, this new love, and in order to get everything you've ever wanted. So with the Six of Swords, it's just repeating this need to come out of this devil energy, a need to leave this energy behind. And then with the High Priestess card, the High Priestess card talks about your shadow self. The High Priestess is about, she's got this eye above her, her third eye is, it's supposed to be open. So with the idea behind, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time today. The idea behind opening your third eye is, and your shadow self is knowing those things that you do that aren't necessarily so good for you. And this cycle is talking about ending that, no longer repeating that. Once you know the things that you're doing and you know that it's not good for you, stop doing it. Like, don't keep doing it. And it is hard, I will tell you. It really is hard. So replacing cigarettes, um, no longer smoking cigarettes. I started replacing cigarettes with food, as most smokers who stop smoking do, because the need is still there to do something when you're feeling helpless. But now I'm getting to a place where I'm saying to myself, like, no. Like, I know you want to do something. I know you feel out of control, so you want to, like, take control and do something. So you want to eat. Like, I'm not even hungry, but I just want to eat. Like, I want to snack. Like, candy is, like, my thing. And I don't even, like, it's been years since I've eaten candy. And, like, all of a sudden, like, I want candy. Like, I want anything I can, like, snack on. Like, if I could just mindlessly eat it. But no, I've started telling myself, like, no, you can't do that. Like, if you know why you're doing it, you can combat it. And that's the idea behind the High Priestess card. It's knowing your shadow self, knowing those things that you do, and actually using it to your advantage. You know, using those things that you do, not, well, yeah, using it to your advantage. So, like, I'm a very giving person. So if ever I end up in another relationship, I have to be in a relationship with someone who is just as giving as me, which means I have to be more discerning in the type of person that I end up in a relationship with. Like, I have to be more patient. I have to be with someone who, you know, I have to make sure that the person that I end up in a relationship with next is just as giving as me, because that's important. And the way that I do that is, you know, watching out for those red flags, you know, those things that you do, like, you know, eating too much, like being like, oh, okay, I know that I'm stressing out because I'm eating too much. So what can I do about that? What am I stressing about? And then once you break down the problem to its root, then you can fix it and you can break the cycle. And then, all right, with the Hope card here, you know, this is talking about fighting for your ultimate happiness. So not only knowing what it is that you want, but being in the position where you are ready to fight for it. Like, you're ready to accept nothing less than what you deserve. And that's why you need to break this cycle for yourself, because you won't be able to get or fight for what you truly want if you're still allowing yourself to go into this devil energy or be around this person. And I think another thing that I'm seeing here too is that maybe there's a person around you that you know you need to stop talking to, or you know that you need to let go of, because they are not someone that is, you know, trying to bring you happiness, or there's someone that isn't, they're just not, in whatever way it is, you know what it is. As soon as I said it, you thought about that person and you felt it in the pit of your stomach. So whoever that person is that came to mind when I said there's a person you need to get rid of, a person you need to, sorry, not get rid of, like, that's terrible. There's a person that you need to get away from. And you know who that person is. Either it's a person or it's an addiction, it's something, and you know what that is. You know exactly what it is. No one can tell you what your issues are but you. You know what that is. You spend every day with yourself. So whoever it is, whatever it is, you need to get away from it so that you can fight for your happiness, so that you can go towards it. And that's fighting for it. Not allowing anything or anyone to stand in your way, regardless of how you feel about them, regardless of, you know, whatever, whoever it is. You know, sometimes you gotta walk away from family in order to be happy, because, you know, family can put you in this double energy. They really can. And, you know, sometimes it don't matter who it is. So let's move on to your advice cards. So the first advice card that you have is Yellow Jasper. So this is from, what is the deck called? It's called Crystal Answers, I believe. So it says control issues. Utilize your God-given strength and power instead of fearing that others may try to control you. So this is the card that made me believe that this is a person that we're talking about, because this card talks about not trying to control other people. So, not being upset when people don't understand you, and recognizing that you can just walk away from those people. And then also, not focusing on when you start realizing what the red flags are when it comes to people, when it comes to yourself. When you start realizing what the red flags are, that's how you protect yourself. And you don't have to control anything anymore, because then you realize, you get to the point where like, regardless of who comes into my life, regardless of, what situation I find myself in, I can find my way out, or I can keep myself from getting into those situations again by paying attention to the red flags. When you see those red flags, do not just tuck them under the rug. Don't just accept it. Don't just allow it. Don't allow this cycle to continue where you're not fighting for your happiness. You're allowing people or things to, take over your happiness, and you're not telling them like no, or walking away from people that you need to walk away from. Walking away from things or people you need to walk away from. Knowing that you need to, and just doing it. That's what this card is talking about. You won't have to worry about whether or not someone isn't treating you right if you focus on the red flags, because then you'll be like, oh, this person isn't treating me right. It's time for me to go. And then you leave. Then you don't have to worry about that person not treating you right. I know it's easier said than done. I'm not laughing because I feel like you guys should, know this or just do it. But it's like, when I've been through a lot, and I've gotten to the point where it's kind of like I'm more so laughing at myself, like thinking about previous situations that I've been in that are similar. And I'm like, girl, like, that's all you gotta do. Walk away from these people. Like, what do you stand to lose, right? If you already are unhappy with someone, if you're already unhappy in a situation, if you're already unhappy in general in life, what do you have to lose by going after the things that make you happy, fighting for the things that make you happy? You really don't have anything to lose except things that already aren't making you happy, and people that aren't making you happy. And like, now there's a possibility for you to find your happiness because you're not around those people. And honestly, even just removing yourself from those people gives you the sun. Because you don't have to worry about, you don't have that guilt anymore. You don't have that aching feeling like you need to do something about something. Like, you won't even feel that anymore because you did it. You walked away. So your next advice card is positive-minded people. So this card talks about focusing on the people that are positive-minded. I mean, just very straightforward. The very straightforward message is focusing on positive-minded people, focusing on people who are in the same energy as you. With the rainbows here, it's like represents like enlightenment and happiness. People that focus on the positives. If I notice someone is being negative more than like 40% of the time, I'm not gonna surround myself with you, because that negative energy is very draining, and it's very easy for me to pick up on it. And so, and it makes me become negative. That's something that I'm working on, not allowing people to drain my energy. But until I learn how to do that, if you are negative more than 40% of the time, I can't be around you. And the other thing that this card talks about, which I like, is not feeling guilty about letting go of those people that just are not operating on the same wavelength as you. It's okay to walk away from people that it's okay to walk away from people who are negative. It's okay to walk away from people who aren't supporting you. It's okay to walk away from people who just don't love you the way that you love them. Like, it's okay to do that, and no one is going to fault you for that. Not even the person. You know, like, you, at the end of the day, if you know that you wouldn't treat someone the way that they're treating you, walk away. That's like my biggest go-to now. If someone isn't treating me the way that I'm treating them, I'm good. I'm good, fam. So, all right. So this is your message, you guys. It's all about your past life. I wish it was more so like, you know, like who you were exactly, but this was a really nice message. So I hope it resonated with you guys. If it did, please leave me a comment, a like, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye. All right, if you guys chose pile number 2, that's going to be the amethyst. This is your reading. So I'm whispering in this video because my daughter is asleep, but also because I actually wanted to do like relaxing tarot videos. Like, that was my thing. But I realized that I was kind of getting away from that, like getting a little too excited about the messages and not really being able to control how loud I was being. So this will actually help. I'm actually happy about the fact that I'm recording while she's asleep, because it'll help me keep my voice down to like where I wanted it to actually be in the first place. So, and I can't get loud because she's asleep. All right, so the first card that we have for you is the energy of this reading, and that card is going to be Spiritual Union, which is also the Two of Cups in traditional tarot. So I'm going to say, before I even get started, initially I was just like, okay, like, this person sounds great, but what the heck is the message here? Pulling your cards, I was like, okay, like, what is the message? So the first card we have is Victory and Success. And this card is basically talking about, like, you are a very successful person, very successful, and you're probably successful now. Maybe not necessarily in monetary value, but like things that other people have a hard time doing, you somehow find a way to do it in like 2 seconds. Like, people look at you and they're like, wow, like, how is it that you just, you know, I've been struggling to find a job for months, and you found a job in 2 days. Like, that's how you were in the past, and 9 times out of 10 you're like that now. You were like that in a past life. 9 times out of 10 you're like that now, because this is why we're seeing these cards. So the next card we have is Triumphant Success, which is similar to the Ace of Swords. So not only were you very successful, you were also very honest, and that's something that is really important to you, honesty. You value it and you give it. Maybe I feel a little too harshly sometimes, but either way, being honest is important to you. You probably feel like, you know, what's the point of being dishonest? I'd rather be honest, even if it hurts, you know, in the moment. I'd rather be honest instead of, you know, lying. And then we have Prosperity Begins. So this card is talking about the opportunities that you had or have. You know, the opportunity to build something, to grow something. This card is representing, you know, these apples. You know, in order for the apples to grow, you know, they're nurturing it. It's not just a process of it's speaking about the whole entire process. So the planting of a seed, the nurturing of it, the growing of the vines, and the sprouting, and then the harvest. It's also speaking of the harvest. It's talking about all processes of prosperity, of beginning something, of a relationship. All the different parts of a relationship. So, to clarify these cards, wow. So we have the Strength card to clarify victory and success. So that was really just saying to me, that's why I said you may not have been, that's what I was getting with the, you may not have been necessarily successful financially. Like, you may not be like rich, you may not have been rich, but you have this strength, and you have this ability to overcome obstacles. You have this ability to do things that other people don't. See how I was getting excited? My voice was, see? You have this ability to overcome obstacles and do things that other people find difficult. Under a triumphant success, we have the Three of Pentacles. So this also says to me that not only are you honest, but you appreciate working with other people. You appreciate, you see the value in having other people there to help you. For me, like, I'd rather just do things all on my own. So that's awesome that you can see the ability of, or you can see the advantages of working with other people, and you're very good at rallying people under a cause, under something that you believe in, under your because people see you as honest. They see you as very honest. They have seen you as honest in your past life, and you make them want to, because they see that you have this strength, like you have this ability to overcome situations. They want to work with you, and they because they appreciate your honesty as well. And then, so under prosperity begins, this is where your message is coming in. So we have the Eight of Swords, and then we have the Three of Swords. So that's going to tie us into the spiritual union. So although you had all of these things going for you in your past life, it sounds like you were a great person. When it came to this love situation, this spiritual union, you had, it was something that you weren't able to overcome. And so you're being given this opportunity in this lifetime to overcome the situation. And I want to say, before I started recording your video, like, I got like super excited. Like, I was just like, I almost feel like if you're watching this pile, you've already figured this out. Because I was like getting into your energy, and I was just like, God, like, why am I so like, I'm so excited to start this, recording this video. I'm sorry if the camera's shaking. I like shake my leg. Anyways, so the Eight of Swords talks about restraint, but self-restraint. These swords, there's like space in between these swords, and if she was not blindfolded, she would be able to see that this band is around her back. She can literally walk out of these swords that's keeping her here if she wants to, but she's not allowing herself to see that because she's blindfolded. And then the Three of Swords speaks about a loss. So this was something that you weren't able to overcome. And it was a self-inflicting. It was something that you inflicted upon yourself. You didn't allow yourself to, you didn't free yourself from whatever it was you needed to free yourself. And it probably was, all these things that you overcame, all these things that you had to be strong about. I feel like when it came to the spiritual union, you didn't realize that it was time to put the sword down. You don't need to fight anymore. This isn't a person that you're going to lose. This is someone that is being given to you because of all this success, because of your dedication to being honest and helping other people and, rallying other people behind your causes. So let's move on to your advice. So the first card we have is Ametrine, I believe it is, and it says balancing masculine and feminine energies. So I didn't even notice this, But you have spiritual union here, and then you also have this, which is balancing masculine and feminine energies. So I'm really feeling like this is going to be a twin flame situation where you're letting your ego get in the way, but um, just take the messages as they're resonating if that's not resonating with you. But balancing masculine and feminine energy. So that, allow your feminine side to creatively inspire you and your masculine side to give you confidence. So regardless of your gender, they say that we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. So masculine energy is just that strong, powerful, confident energy, and then the masculine energy is that nurturing, caring energy. So the way that would present itself if you're balanced is, as they said, someone who is creative, nurturing, but also confident. And balancing, masculine and feminine energies, it's not anything that's easy by all means, but recognizing that you no longer have to fight, that you are no longer needing to battle, coming into, when you've been through a lot of things, if you've learned the lesson of those things that you've been through, there's no need to fight. You should have this masculine confidence about you where you know that you can get through anything. Like, look at this. The thing that I saw with this card was like the way that this lion or tiger, Lord, I'm pretty sure that's a tiger. Jeez. The way this tiger almost looks like it's like stalking, like the way it's like, it's probably like, like the way tigers walk, like when they walk, like it's very like mesmerizing. Like, this is you. Like, you should be this way because of this victory and success. Like, you've gone through things and you know what you've been through, and you always stay honest, and you're always working with other people. So you should have this confidence of this tiger, of the masculine energy. You have this, it's like you're focusing on the losses, like you're keeping yourself tied down or keeping yourself from this spiritual union because you are focusing on the losses. You're focusing on the things that you've lost instead of focusing on the things that you've gained, instead of focusing on the things that you have come out of, realizing that you have this strength. Like, this makes you powerful. You are very strong because of this. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to feel stuck. You don't have to be scared of, what's going to happen to you, of other people coming in and taking something from you or fighting other people off. You don't have to worry about that anymore because you have gotten to the point where you've gotten to the point where you've gotten yourself out of these, you've created the victory within yourself. You've created this victory in your own life. You've done this. And so in order to go to this, spiritual union, this prosperity that you're looking for, you have to let go of the loss. You have to let go of the things that you've been through that haven't been so great. The spiritual union card, that makes me think of it's green, and it makes me think of the heart chakra as the overlying energy of this. I feel like maybe that's something that you need to look into, healing your heart chakra. And that will help you balance masculine and feminine energy as well, because getting over the past, getting over past heartbreaks, getting over those things that you had to come out of, that's kind of like the last step of the healing process. Is like, you've been, you realize the things that not only, that's kind of like the last step, honestly. And then so the next card that we have is Answers Within. So this card talks about how you can move past this self-inflicting thing that you're doing to yourself, where you're focusing on this loss here. Answers Within. So this card talks about looking with inside yourself to find the answers, to find how you move past these situations and how you open up your heart chakra. And the way that you do that is finding the lesson. So in order to do that, you have to look within, and not only look within. When you are looking within, you have to not only look at the things that you don't look at the things that other people did wrong. You look at the things that you may have done to allow the situation to continue, or what things did you do. So like, it's okay to know what things other people did, that's fine. But in order to heal, in order to truly move on, you have to tackle and address those things that within you that allowed those things to continue. So for instance, for me, in my previous relationship, I was very lenient about certain things that I thought were important. And then eventually it got to the point where I realized that, I wasn't happy at all. It wasn't just, these few things that I needed. It was a whole host of things. But because I had been allowing, one thing after the other to continue on, and not really looking at it and saying to myself, like, maybe this isn't somewhere I should be, years ago, not after, a certain amount of years. That was something that I had to learn within myself, that I was, yes, someone wasn't loving me the way that they should have been, but also I didn't stand up for myself. I allowed it to continue. So that's kind of what, and coming to terms with that, because I had to come to terms with that in order to move on. And I had to say to myself, well, I'm not going to do that again. And there's, you can do that without being negative. It doesn't have to be negative. Just coming to terms with yourself, coming to terms with the mistakes that you made, that will allow you to grow as a person, not focusing on the mistakes that other people made, because you can't change that. What you can change are the mistakes that you made. And then you can find the confidence within yourself to never allow that to happen again. And then you won't have to be in this energy where you're fighting people off and you're so scared about heartbreak, because you know within yourself that you won't allow that to happen again. And there's always a lesson in everything. And so even if heartbreak does happen, you know that there was a reason that it was supposed to happen. So yeah, that's actually. And I also wanted to say, there was a little story that me and my dad talked about. So this is the way that I do tarot, to, just in case you guys didn't pick up on this. I tell stories, but if you listen to my stories, you'll get the lesson. Okay, so me and my dad were having a conversation, and he was telling me, we started off by just talking about relationships, and he was, breaking down all his relationships and like the things that he learned. And then he says to me at the end of all of that, he goes, that's why I'll never, sorry, that was loud. That's why I'll never be in a relationship, or like, that's why I'm okay not being in a relationship, or like something like that. Like, I'd rather just stay away. And I was like, well, that's a little silly. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you literally just sat here and told me all of the things that you learned from those relationships that you were in. If you truly learned all of these things from these relationships, why would you then say to yourself that you couldn't be in another relationship? Like, if you truly learned the things that you needed to learn, like if you truly took those lessons with you, like you say to yourself, like, oh, okay, so I learned, I have an issue with being too giving, or I have an issue with being a pushover. I have an issue with, like, if you learn that about yourself, you should be better off picking someone in the future. Like, if you're not crazy, like, because crazy people just keep doing the same things over and over again. So if you really truly learned your lessons, like if you carry those lessons with you, you'll have no need to fear heartbreak, or fear being stuck, fear something that happened to you happening again, because you won't let it. You won't let it happen. You learn those lessons. You don't have to learn them again, right? All right, you guys. All right, so that was like, I had meant to say that and then I forgot. So, all right, you guys, bye. All right, so if you guys chose pile number 3 with the unakite, this is going to be your reading. I'm whispering for 2 reasons. The first reason is my daughter is asleep. And the second reason is because I actually wanted to make relaxing tarot videos to begin with. And I kind of was getting a little too excited in my previous videos about the messages. So the fact that my daughter is asleep is actually a good thing, because it will help train me to be able to keep my voice down when I'm recording videos and not getting, super loud and excited. So let's get started. So the first card we have here is Triumph. And I want to say that this is the pile that resonated with me the most, as always. There's always one pile that's like, oh, this is me too. So in the past, you were a person who was very, very good at taking control of things and making them happen for yourself. Nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, you were very good at that. So, so this is something that you are very, very good at. You are very good at taking control of things and creating your own abundance, nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, and however that comes. So making money, looking good, like you were very good at doing that for yourself. But with the but this is the waiting game card, and it's this card talks about waiting for things to come to fruition. So I think maybe you had an issue with being patient, and you probably have that issue now, and that's fine. You're in good company, because I'm the same way. Like I said, resonates with me the most. So I'm very impatient too, so I like to take control of things. I don't necessarily like sitting around and waiting for things to just happen, because I feel like if something is going to happen for me, it's going to happen because I took control of it. But that's not always the case. All right, guys, I forgot to mention your energy. The overall energy of this card is the of this reading is the 9 of Pentacles, which is, in this deck, it's called the Material Harvest card. So this is going to be a reading about your material harvest. I feel as though I didn't see this the first time. Okay, so I feel as though this is going to be talking about how you made money in your past life. So you were very good at taking control of things, not necessarily good at being patient. But then we have here the throat chakra. So you making money had something to do with you using your throat chakra. So 9 times out of 10 you were, so what that means is that you were either a public speaker, you were a I really am getting like Obama vibes. Like, not saying like you were the president, but like, okay, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you were 9 times out of 10 someone in the government, like the Senate or something, like one of those type of people. So the Triumph card is clarified here by the Queen of Pentacles. So that's just reiterating the fact that you were very good at nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself in your past life. You were very good at, taking care of yourself when it comes to earthly things. So like, you probably had your own house, your own whatever. The Four of Pentacles, Four of Cups is talking about, with the waiting game. I feel like I was getting a separate message from this, which was like, I feel like you're waiting also on like a love offer, like you're waiting on, because like with it, looking at this Four of Cups card, you know, any of the other ones, like you see like the one is coming out of the side and like the Three Cups are sitting here, but like here it's like she's manifesting this cup. Like that's what I was getting from this. And then with the waiting game, it's like you're trying to manifest this thing, this cup that you want. And you're surrounded by these cups you don't want. You're trying to manifest this cup, and while you're doing it, there's this need to focus on yourself. You know, you're nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself financially, using your throat chakra. With the throat chakra, the clarification that we got, and I pulled 2 cards because I was a little confused, but we have the Six of Cups and then we have the Ten of Cups. So I was owing earlier because what I was getting from this was there's this need to speak about your past or your childhood. Like there's something about talking about your past and your childhood and how you found your own happiness that is going to bring you your material harvest. So speaking about using your throat chakra, and I think this could be this offer you're waiting for too, because when this person comes in, you're going to need to be able to be comfortable speaking about your past and speaking about who you are as a person. So but as the energy is material harvest, I feel like whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish, whatever it is that you are going into in this lifetime, is something that you were doing in your past life, which was using your voice, talking about your past unhappiness, talking about your past, your childhood, revisiting that in order to get this Ten of Cups, in order to get, or talking about your past unhappiness and how you're happy now. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what this is, the whole thing is talking about here. And I was like, oh, that's why I like that, because that's what I'm doing. All right, so for your advice, we have Moldavite. It says unconventionality. Okay. Your unique qualities are an important part of your life purpose. It's okay to feel and be different from others. So like I said, talking about your past, talking about your childhood, maybe there's something there that makes you different. I know for me, I always felt different growing up. For a while, you know, I talked about this in my previous video. If you guys are interested, it's the why did I join YouTube? What brought me to tarot? In that video, I talk about how I was different from a lot of people and how growing up, you know, I felt like an outsider. And I really didn't recognize that until recently. But, you know, I spent a lot of time these past few years trying to understand why I was so different and beating myself up for the fact that I was different instead of realizing that I'm different for a good reason. You know, like it's a good reason why I'm different. And that really just ties into as well, like your self-worth and realizing that regardless of if people understand you, you know, because you don't have to grow up your whole life being an outsider to feel like people don't understand you. Sometimes people just don't understand you. And you've got to get to a place where you can accept that and know that that's okay. Not everyone's going to understand you. Not everyone is going to be on the same page as you. Not everyone is going to see how I'm getting loud. I got to figure out how to. Not everyone is going to understand you and what you've been through and, you know, why you feel this need to take charge and take care of yourself and why you feel like it's important to wait on the cup that you want and not rush into anything, or why, you know, it's important to be patient, because I also think that's the other message there with that is learning to be patient, not rushing in like this person on this horse here. Like, it's okay to do that when it comes to taking care of yourself and stuff like that, but when it comes to emotions, relationships, those are things that you have to take your time with, and you have to be patient with that stuff within yourself as well. Being patient with yourself will help you be patient with other people. So kind of taking the time to this downtime that you have, because I'm feeling like there's some downtime right now and you're kind of getting antsy, like wanting to do something about the fact that you're waiting, not wanting to wait, but getting bored of it, because this card speaks about boredom, being unsatisfied. Allow that to drive you. Allow that to be the reason that you continue to wait, because you know that if you rush into something, it's not going to be what you want. Set your sights on your dreams, and don't allow anything or anyone to tell you that it's not something you should be doing. You talk about your past, talk about your happiness, talk about your unhappiness, express that. If that is something that you do, if that's something that's important to you, and I feel like it is because it's here, this is something that was a part of your past life. You were someone that spoke about your past, and it helped other people. And so you're being called to do that again with this unconventionality. And in order to do that, you have to accept that you're different. You have to accept yourself for who you are, and know that regardless of whether or not people understand you, you're still going to be who you are, and you still hold on to that truth. Okay. So your next advice card is well-being. This is so pretty. I love these cards. So the well-being card talks about keeping yourself in high spirits. So it's not easy to keep yourself joyous and happy and well when things aren't going so well. But it's important to not go into slumps, to understand that even though things aren't going well right now, eventually they will be. It also talks about realizing or examining your unhealthy habits, the things that you do when you're waiting, when you're being patient, when you don't really have anything to take control of, and figuring out what those things are and tackling them. Don't allow them, to continue. Don't allow yourself to, getting into healthy habits, getting into eating better, getting into taking care of yourself mentally, taking care of your throat chakra, because apparently you're going to be using it. Taking care of yourself in general, I honestly feel like, with the Queen of Pentacles card, I was saying nurturing. It talks about nurturing yourself. And this card is talking about nurturing yourself. I think there's a need here for you to nurture yourself, take bubble baths, do whatever it is that you like to do, regardless of how other people see it. Like, if your idea of a good time is walking in nature, then do that. If it's sitting in the bathtub for hours, if it's listening to music and dancing in the mirror, do whatever it is that makes you happy. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself mentally and physically. It's very important for you to watch the things that you're eating and how that affects you as well. I experience acid reflux when I eat a lot of fried foods, and I've been going through that lately, these past few days, and I'm like, oh, I really need to start eating better. So that's why I'm saying this. It's true. You should start, you really should take care of yourself, because you don't want to regret not taking care of yourself later, so take care of yourself now so you don't have to worry about it. All right, you guys, this is going to be your reading. I hope this resonated with you. If this resonated with you, please like the video, comment, let me know. If you guys if you guys would like a personal reading, the information is in the description box. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys enjoy the reading, and go check out my other video. It's a really good video. I feel like this card also talks about finding people that are just like you. So you may feel like, because you're different, you may not be able to find other people that are different like you, but you will. And moldavite is a good crystal for calling in your soul tribe. So this may be a good card for, or a good crystal for you to look for, moldavite. Yeah, it talks about, this card also talks about finding your soul tribe, finding those people that are just like you. Stay hopeful about that, because I think once you get into learning how to use your throat chakra, being able to talk about your past unhappiness, your past or present happiness, I think you'll be able to find those people that you're looking for that'll be operating on the same wavelength as you, that take care of themselves, but you got to take care of yourself first. You're playing the waiting game right now, and you know, it may be annoying, but everything serves its purpose at the end of the day. And if you're going through, you know, I feel like it's also easy to become pessimistic when you're waiting, because like you're going to be like, maybe this is never going to happen. And you know, that's what this well-being card talks about too, is kicking those habits. You know, being, are you prone to being pessimistic when things aren't going your way? You know, you got to get rid of that. You can't do that every time you don't get the things that you want, or every time that you're bored. You can't be like, oh, well, it's never going to happen for me anyway. Like, it's almost like, you know, like kids, you know, when they're like, when they don't get their way, like they're like, oh, nah, I never, my daughter said to me, I wouldn't let her brush my hair, and she goes, I never get to brush your hair. I'm like, girl, you brush my hair all the time. Like, just because you can't do it once, like just because you had one disappointment, like you never get to, like, come on. You know, so anyways, you guys, like I said, I hope you guys have a great week. See you in the next video. Bye.